if you came here for a Vietnam podcast, thank you so much. You may or may not know, a Vietnam podcast is on a bit of a long hiatus at the moment while I have to focus on other projects. There will be the odd new episode every now and again, and you may have listened to the previous episode with Elizabeth Nguyen, which was my first new episode in a long time. There may be new ones coming soon, but for now, I'm sharing episodes with you that are still about Vietnam, but from other projects that I'm working on. This one is from the Vietnam is Awesome podcast that I'm a host of and brand ambassador. So check out this episode with Lauren Pienaar. Super loads and loads of useful information in here about boutique hotels across Vietnam, and I definitely show how bougie I am by the amount of these hotels that I've been to. But what's the point in living in Vietnam if you can't check out all these amazing hotels? So enjoy the episode. Thank you very much for listening, and keep tuning in to a Vietnam podcast. Follow me on social media on 7 Million Bikes podcast, and you'll be able to see more about all the podcasts that I'm producing here in Vietnam and around the world. Cheers! Welcome to the Vietnam is Awesome podcast. We'll help you discover the real Vietnam with awesome experiences. I'm Neil Mackay, your host. I've lived in Vietnam since 2016, and I'm the host of a Vietnam podcast, a comedian, and now brand ambassador for Vietnam is Awesome. I came to Vietnam for a 2-week vacation in 2015 and was immediately taken by the beauty, friendliness, energy, and even all the quirks of Vietnam. Welcome back to the Vietnam is Awesome podcast, sharing awesome experiences of Vietnam. My guest today has been in Vietnam now for 7 years. She's from South Africa originally. She's a singer-songwriter with Moonrise City, and she is now the head of communications for Vietnam is Awesome, the very makers of this podcast. And she has traveled all over Vietnam to many different luxury and eco-friendly boutiques. My guest today is Lauren Pienaar.
Thanks for having me, Neil. I'm so excited.
So how did you end up going from a tourist to somebody that lives in Vietnam?
I actually came here for a summer 7 years ago to work at a summer camp as like a little gap year. And I was supposed to be on my way to London, actually. And I chose Saigon because I'm a singer-songwriter, and I heard that Saigon is one of the best places for live music in Vietnam. I literally Googled that. Where is the best place for live music in Vietnam? And I found Saigon. And I really didn't know much about Vietnam at that stage. I'd only traveled to like neighboring countries. But I love Asia, and I love the idea of being in a country that's so different to my own, where people aren't speaking the first language is English, because that's like a huge opportunity to grow. Because I love Europe. I've been to Europe like a lot of times, but it's easy there. But when you come to Asia, it's kind of difficult at first, because when you come from South Africa and you're doing your gap year, and I was doing my second one, usually you either go to work on the yachts, or which I did, which kind of got me into like the F&B and hospitality industry and having like a keen eye for like hotels, hence why I'm excited to talk about this topic. Or you come to Vietnam or Asia to teach English, or you go work on the ski slopes. Like those are 3 very common things to do when you leave South Africa, or other countries too, I'm guessing. But there's something really cool and magical about coming to Vietnam or coming to Asia and immersing yourself in a completely different culture. So that's one of the reasons that I came to Vietnam. And I just fell in love, really. Yeah. And then I just never left.
Well, you came here, you said you wanted to immerse yourself in the culture, somewhere that they don't speak English. So how's your Vietnamese?
Viet Nam, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
That's more than I can speak, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I try a little bit, just like directions, food, money, the basics, survival. The AC's too cold in the spa kind of thing.
How did your passion grow then for luxury tourism? Because again, I think a stereotype of somebody wanting to come to Vietnam is cheap, and it is an attraction of Vietnam that it is inexpensive, and maybe people aren't thinking so much on the luxury end.
Yeah, exactly. That's why That's what I love, not stereotype. I love to challenge it because if you think about it, like in your home country, if you want to stay at like a luxury 3 to 5 star resort, which is like amazing on the beach, has yoga in the mornings, breakfast, you wouldn't really afford that. I mean, you could, but it would break the bank. Whereas in Vietnam, if you just spend a little bit more, you can really have some amazing like experiences and for a fraction of the price of what you'd pay back home. I mean, I'm from South Africa, which is not even expensive, but it's way more affordable to travel at like luxury boutique hotels here. And also, I mean, I'm 31 now, so I've ditched the backpack. A friend of mine who just visited here, and she's a travel writer, she just wrote a blog about traveling with suitcases and not backpacks. And like, I feel like that's the phase of the life I'm in. I mean, I will go to a backpackers if it's super fun and but super nice, like a really nice one. But for me, it's not really about the price. It's about, sometimes I go like cheaper, sometimes more expensive, but it's about the vibe. Like it needs to be beautiful, surrounded by nature, kind of arty, boutique vibes and eco. Like you can tell it even by the products that they have in the in the bathroom, lemongrass, and like there's not like plastic wrapped around everything, bamboo toothbrushes. I don't know, that all attention to detail. I don't know.
One question I always wonder myself, what's the difference between a 3-star and a 5-star resort? I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, I guess that's a good question, especially in Vietnam sometimes.
It's fluid.
Well, 5 stars is usually like really, really expensive. And actually, I'm not the biggest fan of 5-star. I find that's not always boutique. There are some boutique 5-star luxury experiences, but I find 5-star resorts really nice, obviously, but it's like super big, lots of people. The bedrooms are all very uniform and it doesn't feel like special and intimate. It just feels like this giant, I don't know, I feel like hospital in a way, like really clean, but like very basic. Whereas like 3-4 stars, that's usually where I go. But I mean, because if it's eco, that's a problem. If it's eco, a lot of people, it could be like 5-star luxury, but it's eco. So you might have a lizard coming into your room at night and like things like that. So people will say, oh, that's not 5-star. And like, do you know Phu Quoc in Mango Bay Resort? Sorry. That was that's actually my top favorite resort in Vietnam. It's on Phu Quoc Island. And I researched Phu Quoc. It's only an hour flight, obviously, which is awesome. And I thought, I want to go live there for a while. And then we were trying to find some places where we could possibly play. And I found Mango Bay. And actually, they didn't even have a stage and they didn't even do live music. So we went there on a business trip and I met the general manager. And yeah, we made a deal with them, built the stage, and then we started performing at Mango Bay. But that was like honestly a dream for me because I just love that area of Phu Quoc. It's in Ong Lang. It's not like the main touristy spot. And yeah, so beautiful. These little beach huts.
I've not stayed. I've been there for food. I've been there to the restaurant.
Yeah, the food is so
good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the food is so good. See, that's 3-star technically, but it feels like.
But what makes it a 3-star? Like this is what I read one time. It's like if there's a TV in the room, like it automatically bumps it up a star.
Yeah, there's stuff like that.
To me, it's pointless because like I never watch TV in a hotel. Like I never would go to a hotel. Like maybe the TV is on in the background while I'm getting ready, but that's a weird one to me. Like you get a star for having a TV or having a fridge. I think I read as well.
Yeah,
which is pretty useful to have a fridge if you need it.
Yeah, if you need it. But I mean, Mango Bay is eco, so they don't have AC in the room, but the rooms are...
That's why I've not stayed there then.
But actually, they've got this thing called Midnight Breeze. It goes over the bed, and it's just as good as like an AC. It gives this cool breeze on you at night, and it's eco-friendly. It uses less electricity in that. So a lot of people don't want to stay there because they're like, oh, there's no AC. But there is actually, it's like really not hot in the rooms. There are
it's on the water, right?
It's on the water, and the room is designed in like a traditional Vietnamese way. Like there's like a little space at the top of the hut, and the air can flow through the bathrooms outdoors. The bathroom's outdoors in the garden. And yeah, you've got that midnight breeze. So you do keep like cool at night.
I would recommend Mango Bay 100%. I love when we go to Phu Quoc. We've had a birthday dinner there before. I've had an anniversary dinner there before. It's a beautiful location right on the water. And I've not stayed, but I will definitely look at staying. One thing I think people might be concerned about is that, well, eco gets thrown about so easily, and that greenwashing is such a big problem. And I'm almost like roll my eyes at it now as well, because are you really eco? So what for you, if you're looking for an eco place, and you've mentioned obviously no AC, what other things are you looking at in a venue or a hotel? And you actually are like, yeah, okay, you are eco. And have you seen examples of that greenwashing?
Oh, yeah. The greenwashing is my absolute worst. At hotels, it's usually like in the small little details, like the kind of products that they use. Usually I find like a hotel that is like generous or conscious or enough to give you like shampoo and conditioner and body wash that's like natural. You can tell it's not like that, like giant, like just like soap, like factory soap. They're usually like eco-minded, like there's the toothbrushes will be bamboo, or there won't even be a toothbrush and they'll say like request if you need one. And they won't just be giving you a bunch of junk.
Yeah, these kind of, one of the things I always love in every hotel, especially the big 5-star ones, is like, if you want to be more eco-friendly, we won't wash your towels.
But then they do wash your towels.
Well, I want them to. Like, I'm in a hotel, like, I don't want a dirty towel. Like, I'll at home, I don't wash my towels every day. I'm okay if you do that for the whole 2 days that I'm here.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Join pilot and adventurer Fernando Pino as he takes you on journeys to discover exciting destinations across the UK and Europe. You'll fly with him to hidden gems and experience local culture, from bustling streets to serene hideaways and the best places to eat, sleep, and play. Travel Plans is more than a podcast. It's your ticket to exploring the world and its history with a friend. In this episode, we are flying to discover a beachside paradise perfect for the whole family. Discover golden sands, activities galore, and even free childcare so you get your own break too. Why am I still here?
No, I mean, in Vietnam also, let's be serious, it's really hot here. So I don't always want to stay somewhere with, I don't want to stay somewhere with absolutely no AC. But there are certain stays like on the beach, or maybe they have something else like this midnight breeze thing I was talking about, or fans, then it's definitely doable. But you can literally just read the reviews usually. I mean, if a review on Go or Booking or whatever is over like 9 out of 10, and you're pretty much guaranteed safe.
So what are some of your other top locations, top hotels that you've been to?
I lived in Phu Quoc for a year, but over 2 high seasons because I didn't want to be there during rainy season. So from like November onwards. And yeah, Mango Bay was my top. But then there was also 2, which are a bit more expensive, but also really cool, is Fusion Resort. But that's like 5-star. You get your own private villa, and Premier Village. But I also performed at both of those places. On Phu Quoc, besides Mango Bay, there's also Premier Village in the south, which is like right in the peninsula, which is beautiful. And there's Fusion Resort, which is kind of in the north, which is also amazing. But that's like 5-star, like expensive and 5-star. But for maybe a very special occasion, it's really, really, really nice. You drive around in golf carts. And
my wife and I went there for our 5th wedding anniversary. And we had our own private villa, private swimming pool. Didn't look up about rainy season. And it rained for 5 days straight.
Oh, no.
I'm not even kidding. Like every morning we woke up, there's rain on the ceiling. Every night, every day. We went stir crazy by then. We had our own pool. We could barely use it. There's like, I ended up like jumping in the pool with an umbrella because I was just going crazy. I was like out in the rain. There was 1 hour the whole 5 days where it didn't rain.
Yeah, so you definitely don't want to go to Phu Quoc in rainy season. It's still beautiful. Like, I mean, you have your own villa and whatever, but you want to be able to go to the beach. And the spa's nice. You get free spa included.
You get a free spa treatment every day.
And it's pretty good.
Yeah. So, I mean, we will time. But at the same time, we did not look up the weather at all. I didn't even realize that Phu Quoc had a rainy season. It's just like July. Let's go to Phu Quoc. It's the beach. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so... But as a resort, yeah, that's absolutely beautiful, and I would recommend it.
Yeah, that would be my first tip when you're traveling Vietnam is depending on what season it is, kind of like might influence your trip and where you go.
Check the weather.
Yeah, check the weather. Yeah, and then in Ho Chi Minh City, because I've lived here for 7 years almost, or more than, I want to escape the city sometimes. Like, I'm not a city girl. That's the thing. Like, I like nature and art, and like, living in the city is a lot. Like anyone that travels here, a lot of people that travel here are like, wow, how do you live in Ho Chi Minh City? It's so crazy. I'm like, I know. But the thing is, if you go to all the tourist places, like the very popular tourist places, it is kind of crazy. And like, yeah, maybe it's fun to see those like main tourist sites once or twice. But I kind of I escape out of the city. And when I have friends visiting here, I often recommend these 3 hotels, my favorite 3 ones in Saigon. The first one is the Myst, Dong Khoi.
I was about to say, is it going to be the Myst? That is my favorite as well.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's not my top favorite, but it's one of my favorites.
Oh, I absolutely love it. My aunt came to visit in December and she wanted somewhere to stay in Saigon, so I recommended the Myst. She was only going to stay for one night. I think she stayed for like 3 or 4.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It even smells nice.
Yeah, it's just there's a really nice vibe. It's all wooden paneling inside. Kind of like, is it based on the inside of a boat? Am I getting that?
Yeah, it's very antique, and they even have those old like telephones and a big giant rose quartz at the entrance of the hotel.
Yeah, it's just a really cool vibe. It did have a beautiful view over the Saigon River until they decided to build a Hilton right in front of it, which is still not opened.
Yeah, I know. I actually stayed there before the Hilton was built, so we had the amazing view. And you have those jacuzzis on the balcony, just so much fun.
That's right. So the other great thing about the Myst is, I don't know if it's every room, but I think every room has its own bath, jacuzzi on the balcony. And so even if you didn't have a river view, you still had your own bath, like beautiful bathtub outside. So there's just something about the Myst. It's really cool place.
Mystical.
Mystical, yeah, there you go.
No,
so
it's really special.
I want to go and stay there again soon, actually, because it's just a really cool place.
Yeah, and it's in the center of town, and that's close to the walking street. And from that Dong Khoi, you can walk down to the Ang Bang water bus station, and you can take a water bus into Tao Dien or anywhere. I take the water bus a lot. Whenever I can get onto the river by boat or water bus, I do that.
I've never been on it.
What?
Because we went to go on it one time, and here's a good piece of advice: book your tickets in advance. Because we went, I think it was like for the 4:30 ferry. We'd had a day in town, and we're like, right, we'll get the ferry back. And they were like, oh, next ferry's not till 7:30, like the next available tickets. We were like, wait, what? So if you do want to do it, I would absolutely recommend it. It looks so fun. It's quite a relatively new thing in the last few years, and you can get it's like a water taxi from Tao Dien to the city. But book your tickets in advance.
Yeah, you can do it on Google Maps actually, but it's difficult because the if you don't speak Vietnamese, because the actual stations have like interesting names. Well, Vietnamese names. So you have to know which station is in which district that you want to go to. And then it's all in Vietnamese. So I use Google Translate, take a screenshot, and then go over to Google Translate, quickly check, make sure that that's the right bus that I'm booking, and then do it that way. But yeah, the evening times at sunsets are very popular. Sometimes we even buy a little beer on the streets and take it for the ride. And it's really fun because then you arrive in District 1 and take a nice walk up the walking streets and then go for dinner and whatnot. So, and that actually leads me to my next, which is probably my favorite boutique hotel in Ho Chi Minh City. Oh yeah, my favorite, it's called Lam Retreat. It's actually up the river, so it's a little bit out of Saigon. It's about a 15 to 20 minute river ride, but included in your stay, they pick you up at that water bus station. So yeah, you could like spend the day being a full-on tourist and being in the city, doing all the history things or going around town shopping, whatever it is that you want to do. And then at the end of a long bustling day, you get picked up by this little, it's not a yacht, a little speedboat, and then you arrive like up the river at this beautiful, it's actually a retreat, Lam Retreat.
I've heard of it and I've looked into it before, and if my memory serves me right, it's quite expensive, right?
But they have a lot of sales, like on Agoda and Booking.com, they often have like 50% off or whatever, if it's not on like a weekend or whatever. So when we went, we got it on sale.
Well, we should mention the prices. So the Myst cost, the last time I looked at the Myst, it's $5 million a night.
Really?
Which is about $200. And like you mentioned at the beginning, when I think of what you can get for $200 in the US or anywhere else in the world, it would be a fraction of what you would get at the Myst. So yeah, it is. And you do want to, lots of people come to Vietnam because it is inexpensive and you are on a budget and you can get a lot for a little. But even if it's for a night or two and you're visiting Saigon, splash out that little bit extra, you will absolutely not regret it. So I think it's about $5 million. And Lam Retreat,
I think I paid only 2.2 million VND, which I don't know what that is in dollars.
$100.
Yeah, because I got it on sale. Like you look on Agoda and Booking.com and there's always a sale. Like, well, not always, but it is worth, even if you just do one night because you've been traveling and you're tired, or if you live in the city and you want to get out, it's just like a nice little escape.
Well, and the other danger is, I think a lot of people come to Vietnam and they book the cheap hotel, well, come to Saigon, sorry, and they book a cheap hotel not realizing that it's right next to Boy Vien.
Noisy.
And you're not going to get a quiet night's sleep if you're next to Boy Vienne. And I've heard stories like this where people have booked a relatively cheap guest house and it's right next to like one of these massively noisy bars. So again, if you read the reviews, you would probably realize that. But like anything in life, you get what you pay for. So if you're going to pay $20 for a hotel room, it's probably not going to have a fridge or a TV, and you might have some cockroaches or lizards, maybe, possibly.
I don't mind geckos and lizards, but I do not. Okay. And they eat cockroaches, but I do not want to see a cockroach.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you can splash out a little bit. And then so after Lam Retreat, what's the next one?
My other favorite one in Saigon is Mui Resort, and that's a boutique. That's definitely 5 stars. But it's so beautiful. There's a giant swimming pool on the river, and the service is amazing. The food is so good. You literally can have a swim in the pool and order pizza and drinks, and they'll like bring it right to you. The staff are super friendly. I've been there on like a girls trip. So even if they also pick you up on the river. If you want to come from District 1, they also pick you up included in the stay. So that's really, really cool, I must say.
How much is that? That's because I've not been to that one because I know that is quite expensive.
It is expensive, but as I say, they always have sales, like midweek sales and that. And you can also pay like 500K or mil or something, and then you rent a tanning bed for the day and get like a
tanning bed.
They have like those beds.
Like, what do you call them?
A lounger.
Not a tanning bed.
Not a tanning bed. A lounger.
A cabana.
Cabana.
A cabana. Yeah.
You can rent a cabana for the day.
Yeah.
But if it's a special occasion, definitely spend a night or 2 there.
Yeah. And it's not the Park Hyatt. The Park Hyatt is about 10 million a night.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Or like Mango Bay, you pay, it's actually not too expensive. It's pretty good. But for breakfast, which is also at Mia, the breakfast is insane. And also on Lam Retreat, like you have like a buffet, but you also have a la carte. You can have champagne. And the breakfast, you have such a beautiful breakfast that you don't want to even eat lunch. So like, if you actually had to go out for a Western breakfast of that like scale in Saigon, you would pay like quite a lot. So if you're after having like proper cappuccinos and a really good breakfast when you stay at a more expensive resort than breakfast.
No, 100%. Some of the breakfast you get, you're like, this would be so expensive outside of the hotel. The only thing sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I would buy this anyway. It's not like a substitution. Like if I wasn't here, I don't think I'd be going and doing that. But if you do have one of these nice hotels, I'll normally get a couple of cappuccinos because they're all included. You're like, oh, okay, I'll have a second one, okay, and then you eat more food than you possibly can. The other hotel that we went to was on the river here in District 2 was Villa Song.
Oh, I know that one.
They also do the river pickup, and that's why we did that. We did that 7 years ago, when it was because we could get picked up in a boat, and they picked us up from District 4 and take you there and drop you right off, and then...
Are they still around, Villa?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Villa Song, that's it.
I haven't heard. That's next on my list.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Check out Villa Song. That's like 4 or 5 star as well. That's like really, really nice.
Yeah, I think in Ho Chi Minh City, I would stay in like quite a nice place. And then, but the thing is, there's also like cheaper boutique hotels to stay at too. Like in Mui Ne, there's a lot of good options, which now is only like 2.5 hours from Saigon because of the new highway.
So they've just opened up a new highway. So I have never been that big of a fan of Mui Ne. One, because there's not the best beach in the world. You got to go to the White Sand Resort, which has the beach backed onto it. But the rest of the town, there's not really much of a beach. It's also, for me, it was always too far because it took about 5 hours to get there. And some of our friends would go for a weekend or a long weekend, even just a weekend. So they would leave Friday, 5 hours in the car, come back Sunday, another 5 hours back. Oh, yeah, that's too far. 10 hours to go for like 2 nights. So I've obviously been quite a lot, but I've never been like the biggest fan. But now they've just opened up a new highway that goes almost direct from Saigon, which has cut it down. I had talking to friends about it on the weekend. They're like 2 hours.
2 hours, 20 minutes. Exactly. Last
Insane.
time. But I love Mui Ne. I've been there like a million times. I can't even count how many times. That's like my like where I go.
So put me in my place. Why don't we've got 2 sides here. So I'm not the biggest fan. Why do you love it?
Well, when it was still far to get there, we used to take the local sleeper bus and then just leave really early in the morning, like maybe 6 a.m. or something, and then just sleep for 5 hours and read and whatnot.
How tall is your boyfriend?
We're about the same height, 171.
What's that?
173. 173 meters.
I do feet. I don't know. I'm 6 foot, so I think it's 180 full centimeters. So if you're listening to this and you're about my height, you cannot go on a sleeper bus. It's the most uncomfortable. I did it once, and it is the most uncomfortable thing. They are not made for Western heights. They're made for females mostly. Like my wife is smaller, like a female can fit in it fine, or a Vietnamese person. If you're over 5'10", 5'11", it's going to be a pretty uncomfortable ride.
But actually now I'm quite into, because now that there's the 2-hour route, some of the big buses are still going the long route. So I made that mistake last time I went to Mui Ne, and then I came back by luxury limousine. Luxury limousine is the best way, or private car. Like and you know, it's a pretty good price if you like 2 or 3 or 4 people.
We normally get a private car. We're bougie like that.
Yeah.
But no, we have a dog as well. So here's another tip as well. If you do want to take your dog to Mui Ne, there's some dog-friendly hotels as well.
Oh.
And if you get a private car and they agree to it, the one that we always use is called Clown Car, and they're dog-friendly and they're amazing to deal with. So if you want to get a taxi, a private taxi, but then the limousine is like, 10 seats? Like 10, 12 seats?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like 3S limo. There's another one that I just used that was so good. Or like private drivers. You can find all of these kind of drivers, honestly, on Zalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just write driver Mui Ne, and then like travel companies will come up. Local ones with like local prices. I don't really book on like Expedia or any of those big sites.
We've just always used Clown Car, and
I've heard about that one.
They're really reliable, really good, and dog friendly as well.
So this is why I love Mui Ne.
Why do you love Mui Ne?
Well, the first reason is they have what's called bouquet, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that right.
I love bouquet.
It's like seafood and street food. Like, it's not really street food. It's all along the ocean, and then they have, I mean, you know what it is, but just to explain, it's all along the ocean. It's basically fresh caught seafood on the beach, but it's very informal. You can sometimes take your own bottle of wine from outside, because you're not always going to get a good bottle of wine in there if you're into drinking wine, which is what I do. And then I usually order off the menu, because sometimes when you order from the tanks, you get shocked by the prices. So I order usually off the menu, and then unless there's like some other stuff, I check the price first, because I mean, you are at a very informal restaurant. You don't want to pay like a lot of money, but a lot of the places are super delicious. But yeah, eating the fresh seafood on the beach. And then also there's a lot of boutique stays there, really, really beautiful ones, and for all different price ranges. My favorite one, which is the most expensive one, is called the Sailing Club. It's the sister or like hotel from Mia. But wow, that is just honestly insane. It's so beautiful. The pool is perfect. The beach is like white sand. They keep it really clean in front there, and it's like the food's delicious. Actually, the chef's South African. I think if they've still got the same chef. Gorgeous. I've also sung there, so I got to stay there a couple of times, lucky me, but also forked out to go stay there on girls' trips or with my partner, because it's so beautiful. Yeah. It's worth it. But then there's 2 other ones. One which I really love is called Minh On, Minhon, Minh On Hotel. And it's super cheap. It's like $600,000 a night, which is like, how many dollars is that? $30. And you get breakfast included. There's a beautiful swimming pool. Like, you look up and there's palm trees everywhere. The rooms are clean and beautiful. It's not 5-star, but it's clean, beautiful. The food's really good, very Vietnamese. And you're in like this little village, and you can take bicycles and cycle around. So it's a little bit more rustic, but still beautiful, good service, like clean. I really love Minh On. So if I'm going to go for like a week, I would stay probably there. And there's also a sister one of Minh On. It's called La Marina. And they're actually also owned by the same people. Oh, okay. And those ones have sea views. Yeah. And it's like, the price point is that pool's in the shade. So like for Westerners, we want pool in the sun, but the actual rooms are so beautiful. So yeah, you can stay. And then there's also, I go there a lot. So there's Villa Aria, which is beautiful on the beach, and Sun Sea Resort, which is beautiful and also has an amazing Thai restaurant. Yeah.
And you've missed my favorite one. I've been waiting for you to mention it. Cargo Remote.
Oh, I haven't stayed there. You've not stayed in and they've got live music.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be heading up there soon. So Cargo Remote is one of my favorite places in all of Vietnam.
Really?
It's just this little place of paradise. So Cargo is owned and run by a guy who's quite well known. His name's Rod Quinton, and he was a big music promoter in Saigon, and I think in Australia as well. They used to run a venue called Cargo that was in Saigon, and it closed down before I ever moved here.
I went to that.
You went to that?
Yeah, as I moved here.
Yeah, it must have been, yeah. And one of my favorite bands in the world ever is Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. and they played there. I think the Vaccines or the Horrors played there as well. So it was like a really cool indie music venue, and which we don't really have in Saigon, unfortunately, and there's not really the market for it because it closed down.
Yeah.
But what they did was with him and his wife, they opened up a little place in Mui Ne, but it's not on the beach, it's up on the hill. So it's actually really cool to get to. They have to come and pick you up in a buggy, like a little golf buggy. Cars can't get up there.
Oh.
And then they bring you up to it, and you just feel like you're away from the world. There's like palm trees all around. All the rooms are like, the restaurant and everything is above the rooms, like it's on grass on top.
Wow.
And it's all containers. The pool is all natural water, no chlorine. It's all like, it's got plants in it that clean it naturally. And it's just like this little slice of heaven. So we absolutely love going up there. You can spend a couple of days there. You go down to the beach if you want to, but you could honestly just stay in cargo remote, shut off, relax. The people are awesome. The staff are amazing. And it's also dog friendly as well. So if you do have a dog, you can take your dog there as well.
Is there a sea view?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I mean, if you look out far enough, you'll maybe be able to see the sea, but you're not going there for the sea view.
Yeah.
It's back up on the hills. It's more you can just see the top of all the palm trees, which is beautiful, just being able to see the top of all the green. But that's definitely my top recommendation for Mui Ne is cargo remote.
I'll definitely try it next time because some of my friends have also told me that it's amazing. I just love being on the beach, and I find that if you don't stay on the beach at a nice resort in Mui Ne, it's difficult to like find a good beach because the public beaches, as you say, aren't that nice. Because it's a fisherman town, fishing town, fishermen, fisherwomen town. So like that side of the beach is a little bit more like fished on.
That's the only downside of it. If you want to go for a beach holiday, then cargo remote's not the place. But
you can actually spend the day at some of the resorts like Sunsea,
else.
all those places. If you have lunch there, you can tan there and access the beach, and it's cleaner there.
And I think
nice.
cargo remote, if I remember rightly, is about $1 million dong a night. So not super cheap, but not super expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also the cliff, which is amazing.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's as you drive in on the right-hand side.
Is it on a cliff?
Yeah, it's on the cliff. And that's 5-star, but that's also really, really nice and a very good service.
To do in Mui Ne as well is obviously Joe's Cafe, which has live music 365 days of the year.
And the spa. It's called Johnny Spa. Wow. It is the best foot massage I've ever had in my life. Like this tiny little yellow spa with like, it's very like rustic and beautiful and clean. And wow, the service is really good. So it's like spa, seafood, beach, Joe's Cafe, live music.
Last one as well. Mini golf.
Mini golf?
Have you never done the mini golf?
No,
there?
I've been to the driving range.
It's got a mini golf course. It's so much fun.
Up on it?
No, just on the main road.
Oh, wow.
Drink some beers, play some mini golf.
Oh, that's
so much fun.
Right,
we got Mui Ne covered. Where's next?
Next is Dalat.
All right, go on.
My favorite place, my favorite two places to travel is definitely Dalat and Hoi An. But I mean, just for convenience sake, being in Saigon, obviously I go to Phu Quoc and Mui Ne frequently. But yeah, I love Dalat. I'm from Cape Town, so I love the mountains, and being there. I mean, first of all, the weather is amazing because it's nice and cool. There's hiking, there's beautiful lakes. Have you been? Twin Lam Lake is so beautiful. So I usually try to stay in that area. It's like one of the biggest, it's so beautiful, most beautiful lakes in Dalat. And then recently, I've stayed at a few places, but recently I stayed at Mo Stay. And it's like a retreat in the forest, literally. And you stay in these, you can rent a whole like villa if you're a big family, but you can also just rent a room. I stayed in like the entry level, like cheapest room, and it was amazing. I went with my mom. And when you open the curtains, you just see like forest, and they pick you up in a little golf cart and take you to dinner and breakfast. The breakfast is amazing. And you're in the forest. It's beautiful. And you can also barbecue on your rooftop. So if you wanted to like, because it's a bit out of the city, so you can't like easily pop into local restaurants. And in Dalat, the restaurant's amazing. There's some really good food in Dalat. So yeah, I would spend like maybe 1 or 2 nights there. Also a special occasion, like getaway retreat, and then maybe spend 2 nights or in the city.
Nice. I would add to that list Lavender Valley Farm.
Lavender, yes, that's one of the ones I was going to say. That's on Twin Lam Lake, the glamping.
Yeah.
And they've got an amazing like restaurant that overlooks the whole. Yeah. But then my favorite thing to do in Dalat is to go hiking. Yeah, I did that. What's the highest peak called again? Lang Biang Peak.
Oh,
do not underestimate that hike. Oh my goodness. I'm a hiker, and I think in Vietnam, people they're not that adventurous. Like people aren't like swimming a lot and like I just think everyone's city people. And then, oh my goodness, was that a rude awakening? And like, I was completely unprepared. I was just in my normal and then running shoes and my little shorts and top with my hat and my friend. And then there we go. And next minute we got to the top and it started to storm. It started to hail. We were like coming down. The path was literally like an ice river. We were freezing cold. I didn't have and it took hours and hours. It was absolutely beautiful. But yeah, go prepared for sure.
You do have to be conscious of the weather in Vietnam because it can change. I've had friends that went over the Hai Van Pass in outside of Da Nang. And similar thing, they went up in shorts and t-shirt, and by the time they got up and came down, it was like pouring with rain, sideways wind, and freezing cold. So the weather can change. The other thing for Lang Biang Peak Mountain is you can get cars up it, like really old Jeeps, which are really cool, but you do have to book them in advance. So we went, and it was like a 2-hour wait. A Jeep, so it's really, really popular with locals and with tourists, so you don't have to walk up it.
But no, 2 peaks. So the one that the cars go up is a different peak, and then the one that you hike up is another peak. And you could get lost if you did it by yourself. We did it with a guide,
right?
Because a friend of mine, she tried to do it by herself before with a friend, and they got lost. So I would say get a guide.
Spend the money for a guide.
Get the guide, for your own safety, and take a proper rain jacket and some snacks.
All right, so where do we go next?
So after Dalat, is Phu Nha, which is also maybe not as popular tourist destination, but everyone talks about Ha Long Bay in Vietnam, which is beautiful, and I love Ha Long Bay, but it's become very touristy, and the ocean for me is not very clean to like swim in over there. I mean, there's a lot of boats in and out and whatnot, so which is unfortunate. But in Phu Nha, it's the same sort of landscape, like those beautiful hills covered in that like mossy green. It's so, so beautiful. And there's a bunch of beautiful places to stay there. But my favorite, one of them is Phu Nha Farm Stay. And by the same owners is Victory Road Villas. And you get your own villa. So Phu Nha Farm Stay is more like the affordable, like beautiful eco farm stay. And then the Victory Road Villas is a little bit more luxe. But it's beautiful. You get your own villa and it's super boaty, gorgeous swimming pool. And when you stare out in the distance, there's all those buffalo grazing, and you look out on the river and you can do cave tours and all sorts of adventurous things around there.
Because Phu Nha is where Dong Sun Cave is, right?
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know what that is, it's the biggest cave in the world, which they only just discovered a few years ago. And the waiting list for that, I think, is like a year.
Yeah, I didn't do Dong Sun Cave. I guess I should go on the waiting list and do it. But there's a lot of other caves to do. We literally had like torches on our head and like swam in the dark through this cave. It was very adventurous. And like trekked through the jungle. And I must say, take mosquito repellent and put on coconut oil too, because those mosquitoes bite you through mosquito repellent. But that was really, besides the mosquitoes, an amazing experience. And yeah, where you stay, where I stay is so important for me. Like, I really love after a day of adventure coming back to a beautiful place, having a glass of wine and delicious meal. And also sometimes when you stay in a more expensive place, you don't have to eat there every night. You can have the breakfast there, enjoy it, and then try local spots too to balance it out.
And I think we're going to finish up with 2 of the most popular places in Vietnam. And what is that?
Hoi An and Da Nang.
So where do you recommend to stay there?
Well, I mean, if you're traveling to Vietnam for the first time, you wouldn't know that you have to fly into Da Nang and then take a car to Hoi An. Because can be confusing.
I still forget that. I'm like, let's go to Hoi An, and it's like, oh yeah, but we got to go to Da Nang first.
Yeah, but it's not that far. You just organize a driver to take you from Da Nang to Hoi An. But in Da Nang, I don't normally spend a lot of time there because it's like more the city. But when I stayed in La Salle de Mer, like the salt of the sea. I think that's the translation. It's kind of a big hotel, but it's on the beach, and it's like, the design is really, really cool. The rooms are beautiful. The view is amazing of like the whole beach, and the pool is like this infinity pool. It's like these big, like, looks like salt blocks everywhere. So that was fun. But I would just make my way straight into Hoi An and stay either on Ang Bang Beach, which is like 10 minutes from Hoi An. Very confusing for people too. Hoi An does have a beach. It's just like 5-10 minutes outside of the ancient town. So like if you want to be on the beach, I'd stay there. My favorite hotel in Hoi An to stay at is called the Royal Riverside Hotel. And I've been there like 3-4 times. I've been there with a group of friends, with my mom, with my boyfriend. It's in Old Town. Like, they give bicycles, so it's a 2-minute cycle and then you're at the Japanese bridge. And it's boutique. They have bathtubs, which is a big one because a lot of hotels and houses in Vietnam don't have bathtubs. So if you're missing a bathtub, you can go there. Little pool, little spa, and it's just like the location is perfect. There's a lot of nice boutique ones in the area, but you have to look at which area it's in and know where you want to be. Yeah. I like being in the Old Town or on Ang Bang Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, and the food in Hoi An is also my favorite in the whole of Vietnam, like khao lao. So good. When you come here, you have to research the best dishes in Vietnam and then like order them off the menu. Be brave and do it. There's good street food in Hoi An too, like nems off the side of the road. Like, don't be scared. I've never gotten sick from them.
Pho.
Don't just eat pho, yeah.
And then in Da Nang as well, you have Mi Quang, right? So, Lauren, what's your final recommendation for someone looking to come to Vietnam and book something a little bit different, a little bit nicer than your usual hotel?
I would say first, obviously, look at the weather, see where you want to go, and then you can look on any booking site and look between 3 to 5 stars, and maybe don't just look at the price bracket straight away, and like definitely pick out 1 or 2 experiences that are really, really special, and then go for budget in between. I would really recommend trying out some really amazing stays with amazing hospitality and experiences, which you probably wouldn't want to fork out the budget for back in your home in another country. So I would really say take advantage of that. And usually I look for ratings over 9 before I book. But maybe if I'm feeling generous, I'll look for like over 8.
I think that's a great advice. Don't just look at the budget right away, because that's what I'm guilty of. I just look at the budget and think about more, what are you going to get for that? Like, what value do you get? So we just stayed, my wife and I just stayed at the Mia in Nha Trang.
Ooh.
And it was so nice. It was amazing. So again, our anniversaries, we always like to splash out and do something nice. So this was our 10-year wedding anniversary. So we did the Mia Hotel and it was unbelievable. And part of that though was you got 1 spa package included. So like a massage each, and then also had a cooking class. And we didn't realize it was a 3-course cooking class, and we got to cook it. So it was bun tiet nung, bo la lo, and spring rolls.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah, and so that was like our meal we barely ate dinner that night. I don't even think we had dinner.
Yeah.
Because we had the breakfast buffet, then we had the cooking class at lunch, and we'd eaten so much food by that point.
Yeah.
You don't need that. Then you get the massages if you include that. So with the cost of it, that we probably got another like 4 million worth of value on top of it.
Yeah, definitely. Like when you travel to Mango Bay and you stay there, you almost don't need to leave. If you want like a relaxing holiday, you can kayak, you can snorkel. That's all free. The breakfast is included. There's Tai Chi, there's yoga. There's so many things included. There's like spa discount. So a lot of these places that do seem a bit more pricey, it's like an experience. And if you just want like a few days to just chill and not actually move around, you can actually just stay at the resort and experience.
And the other one is airport pickup.
Yeah.
So like we were there, they brought you to and from the airport. And when we looked it up, that was almost like probably going to be 5, 6, 7, 800,000 dong.
Yeah, then
if we booked our own Grab, and they're going to do it for you. So yeah, look at the overall package. What are you going to get? And you'll find some absolutely unbelievable experiences in Vietnam. And I feel very privileged to be able to have these opportunities, because I do think the same as you. I've lived in New Zealand before here. I could not even contemplate being in New Zealand and being like, oh, let's go and splash out for a weekend away, because the price of that would be so astronomical. It wouldn't even, splashing out wouldn't even
splashing out here is so doable.
Yeah, which is weird. And I always like to couch it in the terms of like, whether you live here or whether you're coming from overseas, we're very lucky that we can have that opportunity, because not everybody does. So I do like to make that clear. Like, I don't want to sound like we're just being arrogant, bougie.
No,
like
not
we've
at
got
all.
all this money to throw about.
No,
we're in a very lucky position to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think you can mix your holiday up with like some budget stays, but beautiful ones. Look at the design, look at the reviews. There are cheaper places, and I always go boutique when I can and support like small businesses rather than like these big corporations. Anyway, yeah,
like the one that built right in front of the Myst and ruined the view. Thank you very much, Lauren. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much for having me, everyone, and enjoy your travels.
I'm Neil Mackay. I'm your host of the Vietnam is Awesome podcast. We're here to help you discover the real Vietnam with awesome experiences. So make sure you go check out our social media pages, Vietnam is Awesome, and go to the website, vietnamisawesome.com, so you can see more about tours, read the blog, see pictures, give you everything you need to know about your trip to Vietnam. If you have enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Share it with people. Send us any questions that you have, and we'll be more than happy to help you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're like me, you may use your laptop at places where you have to use public Wi-Fi. This opens you up to digital snoopers. It's a massive problem. It can be your internet service provider, or you know who, looking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal trying to steal your bank passwords or credit card info, or even a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. These days, it is vital that you keep your data safe. NordVPN keeps all of these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites that are phishing for your data, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. And it's easy to use, even I could use it. I've actually been using NordVPN for years now here in Vietnam, and I'm excited to be an affiliate partner with them. I've used NordVPN to watch Netflix, BBC, Disney Plus with ease, and I also know that my information and data are safe from prying eyes, whoever they may be. Join now and you'll get 68% off and 3 months free when you go to my link, nordvpn.com/SMB. Just again, for those hard of hearing, nordvpn.com/SMB. The link is also in the show notes. I know nobody checks them out, but go check that out and you can get the link from wherever you are listening to this podcast. As an affiliate partner, it also means that I will get a small commission when you sign up, but at no extra cost to you. So not only will you be getting a great deal through 7 Million Bikes, you get a great VPN and you'll be supporting 7 Million Bikes podcast. Stay safe online and enjoy the shows you love. Any questions, just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for listening to this show. Cheers.